Okay, from Boneo, from the forums. Hey, fellow old guy. Since Sony holds the patent on the Blu-ray technology, why don't they deny Microsoft the use of the technology? Obviously, they make money on each Xbox One that Microsoft builds. However, it seems like they could corner the market on gaming systems if they force Microsoft out. The truth is, Sony doesn't own the patent on Blu-ray by itself. It's, I think it's called the Blu-Ray Consortium or the Blu-Ray something or other. Kyle will look it up, we'll figure it out. But there's a group that owns Blu-ray technology. Sony's a member. I want to say there's 14 companies. It's a bunch. It's pretty much every consumer electronics company in Japan participates in that technology. And the truth is, they made the technology to get the broadest possible adoption. They want every device in the home that has a disk drive to have a Blu-ray drive. They would like them in your PC. They want them in every Blu-ray player, obviously, every disc player, and they want them in every game console. So it's actually consistent with the formation of that Blu-ray consortium to sell as many licenses as possible. And they make money not just on the drives, they make money on every disc sold. So they get paid something for fabrication of the disc. It's probably something like 50 cents. I mean, it's probably a meaningful royalty. And so, sure, they'd rather sell, see 100 million game discs sold that have 50 cents royalty. It's 50 million bucks more to the consortium. So that's why, and I don't think Sony controls the Blu-ray group at all. I think Sony is just a member, has a vote, and frankly, I think Sony joined that group with the goal of getting as many Blu-ray drives out there as possible. So I think they would actually support licensing it to everybody. Okay, question from Twitter from @KuyoGamer. Mexican baby here. How can a Mexican development industry be born? Indie route or bigwig scouting? I don't know what indie route or bigwig scouting means, how indie route means. Look, all game development is about education. I mean, ultimately, there are guys who don't go to school who are good game developers, but not very many of them. The really good, I mean, Cliffy B, I think, is not a college grad, and Don Matrick started a studio in high school. Those guys exist, but most of them picked it up in college. And the better educated, the more likely you're going to have success in game development. So I think as soon as Mexican universities start focusing on game development as a priority, I think you'll see good Mexican game developers. The more interesting thing, I think, is that, it's sort of like the movie industry. There are great filmmakers everywhere, but the majority of movies made, movies that get big box office, majority of box office is generated from US films. And, the Western world has embraced the US industry. Obviously, there are great studios in Sweden and Finland and England and France. They're actually all over the place. But I'd still say the majority are US. I think that where you'll probably see Mexico rise is if there's enough developers to make it make sense for a US developer to have a studio there. And you start seeing, just like we're seeing right now in Shanghai, you have Ubisoft has a studio there. You're seeing guys doing a lot of game development in places like Russia. Mexican market could be a lower cost alternative, lower wage. And if you start getting some people locating studios there, that'll build the industry. Canada's had that. The government of Montreal, of Quebec, created incentives for people to put studios there, and a lot of publishers did. Toronto just did the same thing, so more publishers are moving there. If Mexico does that, I think you'll see an industry born, but I don't know if the government has any interest in doing that yet. We have a question from Twitter from @MrShowtime. What do you think are the benefits, that's really elegantly worded, what do you think are the benefits of PS Vita TV, and how does it affect the PS Vita? It's going to make the Vita more attractive because somebody's going to buy it. Somebody's going to buy games, which means that more games will get developed for the Vita. And I think the problem with the Vita is not the hardware, because the hardware is awesome. The problem with the Vita was that the Vita is a small market, so it's really hard for developers to get behind the Vita. Anything that makes the marketplace bigger for Vita games means more games. More games, in turn, will sell more Vitas, and Vita TV is a way, I think, to strengthen the Vita offering. And all right, fellow babies, thanks for joining us once again on this week's edition of Pach-Attack. If you have a question for me, you can submit it to the link below. If you'd like to ask me a question on Twitter, send it to @MichaelPachter, copy @GameTrailers, and apply the hashtag AskPac, and we will answer every question we can get to. I will send you a direct message and answer your question directly if you follow me on Twitter @MichaelPachter. Thanks very much for joining us. I had a rough week. Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Must be Kurt Schilling calling. If you'd like to follow more of our stuff on Game Trailers, we have links to YouTube on the side of the screen. I'm not sure which side, but one of those sides. Maybe that side. Just a guess. I had to think about it. I can't remember where they are, right or left.
Oh, you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to think about the picture.